Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
I just got done taking my son to the doctor, and they tried telling me at the front desk that I don't have access to his patient portal anymore because he just turned 13. Are you kidding me? He is under the age of 18. He is my child. I should have access to what his medical stuff is. That is insane to me.
So the reason that this mother is locked out of her own kids' medical records is because of Democrats. Democrats passed what's called minor consent laws, and they kick in at age 13 in Oregon. So at age 13, minors gain the right to confidential care in certain areas without parental knowledge or consent. So here are those ages. At age 14, you can consent to mental health, drug, alcohol treatment. At age 15, you can consent to general medical, hospital, dental, or even surgical care. Think of that. At age 15, you can get surgical care without your parental consent. And at any age, you get full confidential reproductive health care, birth control, HIV, STI, and you get treatments for all these things. And this is all without your parent knowing. Here's what's really wild. These massive systems like MyChart and Epic, they actually default to kicking parents out at age 13 from their own kids' care. Just wrap your head around that. Who needs enemies when you have the Democrat Party?
Who needs enemies when you have the Democrat Party? But it's not just the Democrat Party that we have to be concerned with. It's also the Republican Party. You have plenty of people in the Republican Party that have taken the stance of hands off, you must have done something wrong. While the American people are largely treated as institutional slaves. Now, part of this goes back to something that we probably need to have a conversation about. And here's the reality. Judges have immunity. Most police officers have immunity. City officials have immunity. Congressmen have immunity. Presidents have immunity. Town council members have immunity. The government has immunity. And they constantly are having to force and prove that they're innocent. See, the system is you're innocent until proven guilty, but the system is actually designed for you're guilty until proven innocent. Quite the opposite, the opposite of that. I want to put this up here. This is Erin Lee. She's a guest that's been on the show before in Colorado, who talks about that Colorado was even worse than Oregon. Now, part of this has all come down to, if you want to solve the problem, you could solve it. It's pretty easy. It's real easy. Free and fair elections, ID, in person, make sure you're an American citizen. Pretty simple things, I think, that we should be doing. But the chaos favors favors all of these people doing really bad things. So let's talk about this. In Colorado, it is 12 years old. At 12 years old, you can do whatever you want. 12 years old. 12 years old. Can you get a tattoo? No. You can do everything but get a tattoo. You can cut off your penis. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can change your gender. You can be groomed by the school. You can literally take control of everything, including all of your health records. Now, your parents have to pay for it. State's not going to pay for it. But they do not get access to any information that you don't want to give them access to. So after my 12-year-old daughter was secretly transitioned at school, encouraged to hide it from us, spiraled into confusion and darkness, and affirming therapists only made things worse. She left a suicide note. We took her to the pediatrician in desperation. The doctor made us leave the room for her mental health assessment. Scared and desperate, we complied. When we returned, she'd been prescribed Zoloft, and we were hit with the suicide myth: transition or die. Whew. Colorado HB 191120, which, by the way, this means that it happened before 2020. Lower the age of consent for mental health care to 12. Lets kids 12 plus seek and receive mental health services without parental knowledge or consent. These laws were passed quietly across the country. Many parents, including us, didn't fully grasp what it meant until it was too late. I left adults to trust I trusted harm my children. I let adults I trusted harm my children. I complied with the law in a moment of fear. I learned my lesson the hard way. Wake up, show up, speak up, fight the laws, repeal them, and never let anyone come between you and your kids, especially those who claim that they know better than parents. Protect them. But we're not really protecting them, are they? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're allowing freaks and the ridiculous to actually take control of our community. And when we actually questioned it, you're a homophobe, you're a Islamophobe, you're a anti-Semite. It's no secret that we have a large group of people that run around this country creating havoc, being given all of the mics, all of the places to stand. I want to show you this. This is the child care whisperer. This is a person who showed up and basically is talking to children, and we've allowed this to happen. Now, back in the old days, we would handle this with good old-fashioned violence, because you would never let your children actually be groomed, indoctrinated, raped, and taken advantage of by freaks, circus animals. That's just not the case today. Go ahead and play.
Everybody look at me. And I'm getting ready to tell you something that's probably gonna hurt your feelings, but I love you, okay? The parents are not your friends. I'm gonna say it again because I want you to hear me. The parents are not your friends, okay? They cannot be trusted, all right?
The parents cannot be trusted. They're not your friend. That's not grooming. That's not indoctrination. That's not the very thing that defines the ability to create mental health crises within our children. You know, we talk about constitutional crisis. Hey, rip out the voting system. Oh, people won't be able to vote. Black people don't know how to use a cell phone or a computer. That's actually been said by Democrat congressmen, Democrat governors across the country. They get up and act like somewhere along the line that they're the savior. Kind of like saving people from having kids. You know, abortion. It's a right. It's a right. And you should take advantage of that. You should kill your children. At the same time that we talk about that, let's be really, really clear. Abortion is the answer. The World Economic Forum comes out and says we need to reduce the population by 90 to 95%. You got Bill, the murderer Gates, going over to Africa and sterilizing entire communities with impunity. He's actually wanted in multiple countries for crimes against humanity. And we sit back and we never say anything about it. But he's the number one philanthropist. They just give it to him as he moves towards an agenda, a globalist agenda, to destroy the rights of Americans, making you a slave, making you a stranger in your own home. And you will, by the way, give up 56 cents on every dollar. They'll take all that. And you know who they're going to feed it to? They're going to feed it to illegals. They're going to feed it to Islamists. They're going to feed it to people that frankly don't belong here. They're going to feed it to people that tell you that you have to groom your child and that they can decide their gender when they're 12 years old and then hide it from your parents. Do all the things that are deceptive and wrong. Deception becomes this thing that is just excused. Make sure you go home and you don't tell your parents. Since when did being dishonest be the thing that we should run our society from? And to hell with the truth. To hell with the truth. The truth now is your truth and your truth and your truth. Everyone's got their truth. We just hand out truth like it's candy. At the same time, it's made businesses nearly, they have to fight for their lives. People that are hardworking individuals are fatigued because people that work for them just don't seem to understand what excellence is. So finding good people that are willing to make sure that everything gets done the right way becomes almost too difficult to articulate. I want to show you this. This is a Facebook post. Let's put it up. It shows you that, frankly, they're creating an environment of chaos to make us hate each other. They're putting criminals back on the street. And look, I don't agree with, this is David Harris's deal. He says a black convicted child killer is released early, years early. while someone convicted for a racial slur is a completely different case is denied early release. Same place. Same place. Ex-Kentucky student. If you look at these sidelines, head side by side, you have serious questions. But let me just read this. The sidelines raise serious questions. Many people who wonder whether everyone is truly being treated equally under the law. Violent criminals should be held fully accountable. Justice should be applied fairly and consistently, regardless of the race of the victim or the offender. On one side, it says the family furious as Kentucky child killer freed 9 years early for good behavior. The other side is an ex-Kentucky student sent to jail for shouting the N-word is denied early release. Oh, sticks and stones. What happened to sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. And I'm not advocating for what she said or how she said it, but the system is designed to favor and have compassion for criminals that kill children even. Frankly, the guy should be put to death. Should be really simple. But instead, you want to reassimilate murderers into society. You want to let them out on the street so they can reoffend. Well, how about that little boy? How about the little boy that was murdered? Where is his second chance? Where's his second chance? You know, we talk about what happens to people in our community, and we rarely get a chance to talk through the implications of a lawless system. Now, I got a video that I want to show you before I bring on our guest. And this video is, let me explain this video to you. Let me explain to you what happened. I wrote a Substack on this, which, by the way, I'm now free from any protection orders. I'm going to have some people on that's going to talk about that. But basically, the Coomer attorneys, they decided that they were going to create a narrative that I was dangerous and that I was going to attack them. First of all, I'm not dangerous. I am dangerous to evil. Yeah, I am. I'm dangerous to evil. That's a true statement. I believe that, frankly, we are long past the idea that we should let people in our community be victimized and put criminals back on the street. I think, frankly, that it's going to take force to put us back in a position where we take back our country from these diabolical, evil, team evil demons that we got running things. I believe that stolen elections got us there because, and I don't believe it, I know it. I know for a fact we don't have free and fair elections in this entire country. That they have selections, not elections, and that led to the degradation we have in our society because you got team evil and a bunch of morons that are in positions of trust and authority. They're doing everything they can to hurt the American people while propping up people that are here illegally, that are taking from us what was never theirs to take. But let me give you some context on this video you're about to watch. And maybe I can make it all make sense to you. And I wrote this about it just to tell you about it. So this is about a woman. Her name is Chrisanna Elser. She was treated as guilty till she was proven otherwise after police used a flock camera, license plate readers, to target her for minor package theft she did not commit. System relented only relented after she did the police's job for them with her own technology. No mainstream media crusade forced accountability, by the way. I just want to be very clear. Mainstream media wants these flock cameras in place so that they can basically have the ability to charge us for crimes that we never committed. They can frame it up any way they want. And by the way, if you want to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in order to defend your rights, you have to prove that you were innocent. But the mainstream media did nothing. Citizen-driven reporting and independent voices amplified the truth of her innocence while the protected class of police operated with near total immunity. On September 27th, 2025, Sergeant Jamie Milliman, you got to hear this guy. It's crazy. I mean, this is the epitome, by the way, of the system that believes you're a slave. Arrived at Elser's home with a summons. He accused the financial advisor of stealing a package worth $25 or less from the doorstep of a neighboring Bomar. His ironclad evidence? Flock safety AI cameras that logged her forest green Rivian passing through the town. She's going to go steal a $25 package driving a $120,000 Rivian. That should have been his first thing. Like, maybe I should look into this, but no. And passed through town between 11:52 and 12:09 p.m. on the day of the theft. He claimed additional doorbell video confirmed you're guilty. And he said this. He said, you know, we have cameras in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air out there in the place without us knowing. He told her, according to Ring footage. Now, she had a Ring camera. They never even admitted to any of this, by the way. They didn't know that she had a camera with this on it, of the things that he was saying. He added that her vehicle had been tracked driving through the area about 20 times in the prior month and described her clothing that day with certainty. Elser repeatedly asked to see the alleged video. Milliman refused. Yeah. And when she offered Rivian's onboard cameras and other recordings to prove her innocence, he dismissed it, bringing it to court. The officer operated with confidence of a system that shields law enforcement through qualified immunity, a judicial doctrine that makes it extraordinarily difficult to hold officers personally accountable for constitutional violations unless the exact right was clearly established in prior precedent. They get off scot-free. Judges who issue summons or oversee such cases have even stronger absolute immunity for their judicial acts. The result, police can accuse, surveil, and disrupt lives with minimal real risk of meaningful consequences for themselves. This is where we are. Now I have a real, Tim Barton's going to come on here and he's going to talk about what happened to him. He didn't even get a day at court. He didn't even get a day at court. His was even different. The SEC and the government stole $400 million from him. But I want to highlight that they're the haves and the have-nots. And you are not a have. You're a have-not. See, the haves are two separate clubs. You got the minor leagues and you got the major leagues. And the major leagues get to operate with impunity. They get to rape children and get away with it, like you see in the Epstein files. They get to cause victims to commit suicide. And if that's not enough, you have the ability to go and murder people with impunity, literally murder them. You think I'm kidding? Look at the Clinton. Clinton has more body count than the head of the gangster disciples. I promise you. And yet nothing happens. You have Seth Rich gunned down in the streets of D.C. Unsolved. FBI steps in. Mayor steps in. Some of you know about this, some of you don't. But the reality of it is you have a minor league and you have a major league. Now they get to pick winners and losers on the major and the minor league, but mostly the minor league. Majors don't pay any consequence unless your name is Donald J. Trump. Unless you go against the establishment and the machine, you try to restore order and hand back entitlements to the people, then you're guilty. Now, the real consequences for Elser is that she feared that it was going to cost her job. I mean, nobody in the financial sector wants thieves to work for them. So she went through and gathered Google timelines, witness statements, photos of her outfit, footage from her tailor, who she had a noon appointment with, by the way. A quarter mile from the theft. Same time they said this is happening. Nope. Not even wearing the same car, not in the same car, not even driving the same car. I'm not kidding. This police officer should win the award for Deputy Doofy Award. I want to play it real quick, but she had to literally call police administrators over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And they put these cameras on every corner. And by the way, now you can see police where they're going and cutting them down, saying, we need your help. Help us find who's taking out these flock cameras. No, I think that everyone in the United States should find a way to dismantle and to pull these out of our community. And you could say, well, they solve crimes. Tell me what crimes they've solved. Show me. Show me. Because all I see is major criminals being put back on the street. So even if you caught them, you put them back on the street, you're just recycling them over and over and over again. While the chances of somebody innocent being caught up in the mix and saying you're guilty, and then how many of those people they caught are actually guilty? And we haven't even talked about how police officers and lawyers and judges are using this system in order to track their adversaries. Play the video.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elser learned the power of flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
When a Colorado police officer showed up at her door holding flock snapshots of her truck.
And here's when you left at 12:09. That's when you left town.
To get?
No, to stop at Ridge Trail
Wait a minute.
and take a package. Well, there's no shushing. I don't need to be.
I need to know where this is.
The first thing he pulled out on the body cam is that flock picture, the clear photograph of your car.
But here's your vehicle in the neighborhood many, many times, apparently casing houses, because you just can't drive through for work or visit other businesses. You can only be casing houses.
It is her. It is 100%. It is locked in. There is zero doubt. I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure. 100%. It is certain. It is on video. You're obviously welcome to go to court.
Chrisana was charged with stealing a package, but it wasn't her. The porch pirate was somebody else. Multiple times you tried to show him your video evidence. He didn't want to see it.
Now, even when I called him back, he said, that's not my job.
You looked at a time of a crime. You saw my vehicle entering in the flock.
No, what I did was I did an investigation.
You called my wife a liar. You said this is fact.
I have video evidence. I don't know what you want me to say.
The charges were dropped after Chrisana spent weeks trying to get the police chief to look at her evidence. Time-stamped video from her truck and a neighbor's doorbell camera showing she wasn't at the scene of the crime. What does it say about where we are that you feel you have to have more cameras than the police have in order to make sure you can prove yourself innocent?
It sounds like it flipped the script to you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Without a flock camera, that detective would not have been at her door. By his own admission, he pulled out the flock picture of her car. Do you want to apologize to Chrisana Elzer for what happened to her?
For the police misusing the tools? I don't think that I have to apologize for him.
He wasn't charged with a crime. He wasn't, other than being reprimanded for his attitude.
Sure. No, but I would tell you that, should I apologize for somebody misusing a tool? I don't think so.
Flock Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas. Who's watching the watchers in these cases?
Well, the city council. The city owns the data, so city council would have the appropriate responsibility in that case. Our point of view has always been that it is not Flock's job to police the way police do their work.
You know, the problem that I have right now. Hey, by the way, do me a favor. Get somebody to get me a charger for me that's in my bag in my office. Will you? My computer's about to go dead. I want to point something out here. They didn't even give her an apology. There was no apology given. And the Flock Safety guy, look at that guy. Look at that guy say, oh, I'm supposed to apologize for the fact that the police misused it? What do we have with our election systems? Let's talk about that. Every time something goes wrong, it's human error. Sorry, human error. It's just the way it is. Oh, and I know the system is absolute dog shit. And I know that there are absolutely no ways that you can secure this system. And it was built, frankly, using technology that's 20 years old. And it's a black box. And frankly, we like it that way so we can insert fraudulent and fake ballots. But look at the similarities between everything the government does. They do shitty. It's shit. And there's no accountability for private organizations. You could talk about technology companies and the technocracy of them getting away with censoring people with impunity, people that have the golden hands at each of the sites, and able to say, we need to stop him from speaking. And this mother had to go and prove herself innocent. And the police officer, that smug little prick, had immunity. He had absolute immunity. I mean, think about that. Think about how many people have been let out. The Innocence Project has to go in because the judges lie, the lawyers lie, the police lie. They lie. And they don't care. Because it's not their life. They're the haves, not the have-nots. The story you're about to hear right now is pretty dramatic. Our guest is Tim Barton. Now, Tim, I need you to do this for me. Can you? We're going to take a quick commercial break before we have Tim come in. I need to make sure I have my notes. I have 2 sets of notes here. And normally I would do this. And I thought I was fully gapped, but I'm not. So we're going to take our quick commercial break now. When we come back, tell you a little bit about Tim Barton, and I'm going to tell you why this story should be the biggest story out there. There's no bigger story than the one that we're about to talk about that shows no matter where you are in the system, They can take from you what was never theirs to take at every level, and they can literally do it with impunity. We'll take a commercial break. When we come right back, we'll be joined by Tim Barton.
Oh, hi. I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Our master bakers teach class every week, so whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns, we keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. So our guest today is Tim Barton. Mr. Barton, he founded and was the founder and CEO of JMJ Development out of Dallas, Texas. Been around since 1990. And he established a global presence as a premier real estate development company, and had done really well. In 2019, he didn't feel right about a transaction and things that were happening run through some Chinese proxy investors. They were doing some stuff that he thought was shady. And in 2022, after a 2-year investigation by the SEC, Mr. Barton was ripped from his bed at 5 a.m. by FBI agents, 8 heavily armed FBI agents and Dallas police officers. They work together now because, that's just kind of the way it works. This led to a political witch hunt by the SEC and the FBI. Now, I need you to know something about this, which is the core of it. They considered ordinary loans now securities. This case is about federal power, the fact that they can take your life's work and through receivership. Just no trial, no verdict. Just we're going to take it from you. So we're going to talk about some things related to this, and I only spent 30 minutes with him. I saw the Nick Shirley interview, and maybe we should play that first. Actually, let's meet Tim, and then we'll play the clip with Nick Shirley. Tim, welcome to the show.
How are we doing? Thank you for having me today.
The further I get into this, I got this really big document, the SEC versus Barton, U.S. versus Barton, because
Right.
this turned. Now you still haven't. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself. I mean, this is not your first rodeo. It's not like you worked at 7-Eleven and somebody gave you a Slurpee machine and you ran out and made a bunch of money making Slurpees. You had a large organization, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they just came and took it from you.
I mean, I always said I was the American dream, right? I mean, I was what America was about. I grew up in Connecticut, with no resources in my family, Irish, Catholic. You can imagine this, I'm not here to whine about my story, but there was nothing there for me. And I got out of there early. I started cutting grass, painting houses, doing whatever I had to do to make money because I needed to eat. I needed to get moving, right? There was nobody, no silver spoon in my mouth. And look, it makes you who you are, right? I mean, I think that's the great American story. And for a kid that came from Connecticut, and not Greenwich, okay? I know everybody says Greenwich is all the rich people.
I was going to laugh about the Connecticut part, but I mean, I want to poke you a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, I came from the broke side, and to make it to the point in my life where I met some of the most powerful people in the world, and traveled the world, and did business around the world, and in 2004. I was the first U.S. developer ever to go to Dubai and start projects. So, the story is amazing, and what was the hardest thing for me to understand is in how in America can you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning from what you perceive as a crank phone call. My first thought going through my mind is these stupid Chinese are trying to do something stupid, and that there's no way there's an FBI agent on the other side of the phone telling me at 5 o'clock in the morning, we're surrounded your house. You got to come out like I'm some big drug dealer. And, that was the hardest part of this whole process. How in America can somebody that survived, building a company, not once, but twice. I mean, as a real estate developer, you do have market turns. So, you could have good years and bad years, and you have to build it back up. So, we did that. And to have it all taken away by the very government that you love, that were so proud of, for who and for what? People that are not even in America? I mean, we'll get into the whole story, but how is it that a Chinese national that comes to America, starts working with a home builder, and they get me involved to be a fee developer, and the U.S. government, the FBI, the DOJ, the SEC, all believe everything that some Chinese national said, and they don't even show up in court. They sued me. They put me in bankruptcy. They got the SEC. I mean, they put me in jail, right? I mean, and not one of those supposed alleged lenders has ever stepped foot in a courtroom in America. And I have never, after 2 years of SEC investigation and 4 years of a receivership, which is a real torture, we can explain more about, have never stepped in court. And in the involuntary bankruptcy, the judge ordered these Chinese, if Mr. Barton owes you money, you have your day in court, come to the courtroom. Nobody showed up. So, it's been a crazy journe.
So I want to take it back to the beginning. And it doesn't, you met with Nick Shirley. I don't know where you met with Nick Shirley, but I saw this video. We have the video.
Yeah. I was at an event with Ed Martin and Cynthia Hughes. It was, people said, how'd you get that interview? I did what I did my whole life. I just got up and walked right into them, That's the American way.
Yeah, let me find this really quick for you. I said
no
it over
problem
on the thing, but I think the issue with this, just talk a little bit about what's happening. I mean, obviously, I'll find this video really quick.
Sure. While you're looking for the video,
yeah.
I mean, I think one thing that we ought to start with was, why is this important to everybody in America? Okay, so this real estate guy, he's got all these millions of dollars, and now they've taken it away. Woe is me. So what? Well, listen to me. If they could do it to me, I mean, I really felt I was unstoppable. Nothing ever caused me to quit. I'm a fighter. I go every day, every problem, I'm on it. I don't ever quit. And to think that the U.S. government can show up one day and take all your assets. They didn't just take my assets. They took my son's assets. My son was in college when these Chinese were in Texas. He had nothing to do with it. And he graduated. He was a beautiful, beautiful man, getting ready for his life and doing projects. And they took all his assets. And then you take it even farther. They sued my daughter for her paycheck between her jobs in the administration. They sued her for $20,000. They sued my son for $60,000. My son used to complain to me. He said, "Dad, I can make more money working at Whataburger than you." And then the U.S. government, the receivership, is suing for his very paycheck. They sued my ex-wife, God bless her, because I wasn't even in touch with her for 10 years. And they said she had waltzed away with $750,000, which is a total fabrication. They just make this stuff up, and then on top of that, they sued all my lawyers. So they take all your money, they sue all your lawyers, they sue your family, they threaten your family, they threaten every lawyer that ever came in after the 6 lawyers were sued. I got some other lawyers to help. What did they do to them? They went after them for contempt charges. Oh, what is Mr. Barton paying? How much did he pay? They just terrorized, and they put it all on the record. to scare any lawyer so they would never work for me. And any lawyer that tried to help me has been attacked by this receivership and the SEC. And at the end of the day, it happened to me, and it's still happening. Okay, this is going on 6 years now, 2 years of investigation, which I fully cooperated with. And because I fully cooperated, and we had lawyers, and the government was working with us, SEC, we didn't hold anything back. All the interviews, whatever they wanted, they're always threatening us, barking at us. And so why did they have to send over the FBI in full riot gear at 5 o'clock in the morning? And of course, they did it on a Friday. A lot of people, it's my wallet, not much in it these days. I have to use these Chime and been debanked and everything else, So, but what is in my wallet? I know most people carry pictures of their baby kids or grandkids, which I don't have yet because of all the torture they've done to my children. But I got here the two names of, can't get it on the screen, but yeah, Mr. Ben Whitley and Andrew Bohas. I'm sorry if I get this figured out here. Yeah. But anyway, I carry this in my wallet. Why? Because when those FBI agents arrested me, I wanted their names. You know what Ben Whitley said to me at 5 o'clock in the morning when he had me in chains? He said, "Did you like the showtime?" I was like,
the showtime?
What do you mean the showtime? He said, "Yeah, we gave you the full showtime, 5 o'clock in the morning, blue lights, bullhorns, and on a Friday. We gave it all to you. You know why they get you on a Friday? So you spend you be in the jail for the weekend." Okay? They indicted me like within 3 days of some filings that we did that they didn't like to kick the SEC case out. We filed a full federal bankruptcy so that the federal bankruptcy court could adjudicate this and find out that these Chinese are all fake. Who are they? Where are they? Why won't they come to court? And as soon as we did that, they rushed this indictment, which happened on a Tuesday. So why didn't you arrest me? Why did you wait till Friday? We know why. It's the textbook playbook. They got a playbook. It's the Roger Stone playbook. It's the Jeff Clark. It's the Flynn. It's all of them. If you support Trump, and what's crazy is in 2019, I did a whistleblowing on this whole thing. I knew something was crazy. I knew it wasn't right. These guys were trying to do something which I believe was money laundering. I hired a team to go before the DHS and to the FBI with a file, all the files that I had about what they were doing, how they're moving money, the people that signed the agreements never even wired any money, all of that. But 2019, with all the Russian gate and all the other busyness that the government was under with Trump, it wasn't a priority, and it was Chinese nationals. So they're like, look, this is not a priority. And then, of course, as soon as Biden got in, the SEC became the collection arm and the Gestapo for these Chinese CCP nationals. I mean, what is the SEC? By now, they probably spent $10, $12 million. They've got two cases going. They got an SEC case, which has been going on for 6 years now. Okay. And by the way, the SEC is supposed to be on securities, not loans. These are simple promissory loans. Forget about the fact that they didn't even have jurisdiction. They shouldn't even have done it in the first place. But just think about 6 years, 777. That lucky 777 just hit on a filing in the court yesterday. That's how many filings have been dealing with the receiver taking and liquidating all my assets. That's all they've been doing. So they got all that money they spent. The DOJ's got their whole case.
So hold on a second. You have over $100 million. Let me put this in perspective. They forced you into a bankruptcy. You didn't agree to a bankruptcy. They forced you into a bankruptcy.
The Chinese did that. They did it. First thing they did is we said to them, look, it's time to pay these funds back. And we have a receipt here. And the receipt says the money must go back to the bank account it came from. Now, why does it say those words? Because that's the only modification I did in any agreement. Money must go back to the account it came from. Why? Because the home builder was dealing with Chinese. And I said, that way you avoid any money laundering. They would not accept that. They said the money has to go to their agent, Michael Fu, in America. He wanted that money paid to him and his personal account in America. I had already told this guy, yeah.
This is the guy that, but by the way, this Michael Fu, he was charged with a crime.
He's already pleaded out. They pleaded him out, and he's been living the life. He didn't lose his house. He didn't lose his company. He didn't lose a single dollar. The government is not taking $1 from this guy. He made up this whole case. He pleaded guilty to it. He said, "Oh, I sold securities," and they gave him a deal that capped him at 5 years. He gets to stay in America. Okay, he's a convicted felon. He's already admitted it.
What do you mean he capped him at 5 years?
He doesn't get any more prison time than 5 years. He cannot be sentenced for more than 5 years for what he committed to, but he has to testify against me.
So your case is still ongoing.
Case has never started. The DOJ dragged me out of bed in 2022, September 22.
Okay, hold on a second. He pled guilty. You have all this documentation. The FBI came and took that from you. Now, obviously, they know they did something wrong here. You haven't been charged with anything.
No, I've been indicted. No, be clear. I have been arrested. They dragged me out of bed in chains and leg irons.
Leg irons. They did that all inside your house.
Waist irons, leg irons. They took me like I was a mass murderer. I probably have less time hanging over. I have 180 years on my head. That's how much they keep threatening. They're going to put me in jail. They said they're going to do new indictments for the last 4 years. They keep threatening me. Oh, we're going to charge him. We're going to charge his family. We're going to bring more indictments. They arrested my secretary. This poor girl started working for me when she was 19. Sweet, beautiful girl, 3 little kids. And they arrested her a year later. They tried to break her for a year to make some story up about me. She said, "I will not lie, and I didn't do anything wrong." And a year later, after they arrested me on Christmas Eve, they dragged that poor girl into the jail. And they charged her just like she was an accomplice of whatever this big crime is they say happened.
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
See, this is the evil. This is the evil. Yeah. This is team evil that I talk about, right? This is the act with impunity, do whatever you want, right?
Because nobody fights. Nobody stands up to them. They give you 180 years. They say, "Oh, we'll give you no more than 5 years. You go to jail, you'll be out in 3. Just sign here, plead, admit to it."
Did you tell them to fuck all the way off? Not just partially off, but all the way off?
Well, I mean, the one thing that everybody should, always do, be respectful in ways, but the most important thing is you don't talk to the federal government, because that's how they got Flynn and Martha Stewart and all these people, is they just trying to trick you into some lie, just another part of their playbook. So, I'm just waiting. I'm fighting.
So are you currently are you currently waiting for trial, or what's the you said it never started. That means that they arrested you, they indicted you, and then they said, "Hey, we're going to sit on the sidelines for a bit."
Right, because there's 2 cases. The SEC case, I should have been allowed to prosecute my SEC case, because the SEC, what they do is if they don't break you, if they don't make you pay their big fines and give up all your assets and just pay them a big fine and say you're a bad guy, and then you have to have a gag order. Thankfully, that's stopped now. But so what they did is they stayed the SEC case so that I could not do any investigative work. So the DOJ arrested me and the SEC at the same day. Now, why do these 2 government agencies have to file 2 huge cases against me, both identical, the same time? Because they need the SEC started the case and they couldn't break me, so they brought in the DOJ to scare me and drag me out in chains. And then what did they do? They added the triple play, which is a prejudgment receiver. And everybody that listens to your podcast better wake up and go research what a prejudgment receivership is, because it is like the all B NB of power. A judge waves his hand, and you got to love this. Who did the Judge Star wave his hand to? Not a qualified guy that knows how to run a real estate a business, but a little kid, a little boy named Court Thomas, who's his little boy buddy, Judge Starr's little buddy, and the 2 clerks that work with judges. His previous clerks went to work at Brown and Fox, where Charlene Kuntz, Alan Carrillo, Tim Wells. Those 2 boys were clerks for Judge Starr. Then they got Court Thomas in the same firm, And instead of giving my receivership to a qualified guy whose name was David Wallace, the SEC already picked him. Judge Starr says, no, give it to my boy buddy over here, little Court Thomas. And he knows what to do. And what did he do? He went into my office and fired everybody and has been liquidating ever since. Oh, and just a fun note. Do you think that a district court, a judicial Article III judge like Brantley Starr, who's appointed for life, I've been fighting on every single step of this against what this receiver did. Guess where they were a few weeks back? Oh, they went on a judicial retreat together. So my receiver, who's running my life and is supposed to be impartial to this judge, we found out that he wanted him to sit. Oh, my lawyer said, hey, who's sitting there? The judge said, oh, no, Court Thomas is sitting next to me. Like, who makes this stuff up? How does this happen in America?
All right. So you were a big supporter of President Trump.
Absolutely. I mean, I was supportive of for many, many years before he was in politics. And I opened up the office in Dallas, Texas. They started in New Hampshire. And it was hilarious because I figure, they're going to have a big office in Dallas. There's like 3 people that went from New Hampshire. They rolled down to South Carolina. They opened the office there, and guess who was there? Nancy Mace, God bless her. The fighter down there. She opened up the office, and then when I said, "Okay, who's coming to Dallas? Where's the office?" It was like a caravan, an honest to God caravan, and we opened that office, and we've been supportive ever since.
Okay, so I need to. I'm gonna just. Have you had any opportunity to talk to President Trump? Have you?
Not. I'm not going to bother him or call him. This is a judicial issue, and I don't ask for people's help. I'm fighting it. I've been told I should be asking for help more now, but
Tim, do me a favor. Just stop talking for a minute. You ask for help when you need help, right? You look for. I don't like asking for help either. Matter of fact, I'm the guy that runs away from it. I handle my own business, but this played a part. This 6 years, $10 million. I've lost $10 million over the last 6 years, right? And that doesn't count the money I lost from my company and people, eviscerating my company. The problem is that I'm smart like a fox, and I just can't. I don't know. I'm like a cat with like 500 lives, and I just fight and I don't know how to stop fighting. Like I don't know how to. I'm like you, but I will.
It's the same. That's all it is. That's what. Just like President Trump, he's gone through the exact same thing. They attacked him when they were putting when Letitia James was taking over all his assets in Texas. They were putting a monitor on him, and we were fighting for a monitor, but they put a receiver on mine. They went after a kid.
You got to talk to President Trump. You got to reach out to Susie Wiles. You got to head down and do whatever's necessary to have show up at the White House, fill out the little form. Do a gangster style, right? Show up and be like, I'm here to see President Trump, right? And then you tell him, you make sure that you have a ironclad bluff, bottom line up front. This is what happened, kind of like this piece of paper that goes through the things that were related to you. And then you have the 2 boxes of documentation. I recommend actually going and talking to the AUSA, right? The assistant U.S. attorney that represents civil rights division, and you drop it there.
Dillon.
Yeah, Hermie Dillon, or the assistant to her office, right? And you say, here's where it's at. You also reach out to your congressman in your area, which frankly not going to do you a whole lot of good because Texas is filled with a bunch of squishes, but at least make the record known. And you got to make a list of the 10 things that you want to do, and here are the 10 things you want to do. And you literally stand on this truth. The problem is that it's been 4 years. Well, how many shows were you on the first 3 years? How many times did you?
Nobody would get you on. Nobody would put you on. We asked.
I sat at the
I didn't
thing.
know you.
We sat and talked for a minute, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put you on the show.
Well, that's what you did. Yeah, you're an American hero. You try to get on Fox News, CNN. I've been sending press releases. I've been sending. I fought all the way to the Supreme Court, and I got Ken Paxton's office wrote a amicus for me. The NCLA, Nancy Mace, Loomis, a lot of people supported the fight. And we've been doing it. And I could tell you that the Congress and the Senate building, I know that they're 13,500 steps. If you walk every single floor in every single office, I carried my paperwork. I dropped it at all the people that, I didn't go to crazy AOC or anybody, but everybody else, we've been putting out the paperwork, but it's a little depressing that, look, I know that these people are good people that are in there now trying to do their best, but the bureaucracy and the machinery does not want to stop. I mean, in my case, they had a Democrat USA that charged this case, and then they said, "Oh, go back and talk to him and see what you could work out from our discussions in D.C." And
do you know the thing about cockroaches? Do you understand what cockroaches are?
Well, they keep coming back. I mean, we thought one of them was terminated, then we just found out the other day he's still working there.
You gotta, Tim. I'm going to give you some free advice. It's worth what you pay for it. But if you're
I'm writing it down.
If you're going to go down, you go down swinging.
I ain't
and you
going
swing
down.
you swing for the fences. You swing for everybody's head. You try to take their head off their shoulders. Defiance is not even what I would tell you. Defiance has nothing to do with it. This is righteous indignation. And you should be talking about this every day. You should wake up in the morning and be like, these stupid fucks. Pardon, I don't like to cuss on my show because I literally get angry and I finish it with a prayer every day. But the fact that I'm hearing this story, I've read this entire brief, this brief of that you sent over to me. I've read the whole thing, right? And I'm sitting there reading it, and I'm looking at the different documentation related to how they took your money, and that there was no appeals process. So they gave you nothing, no appeals process.
I mean, we look, the first receivership that came in, we did. You got to understand the DOJ and the SEC case is frozen, and what they did is they unleashed this prejudgment receiver who has unbelievable authority to do whatever they want. I mean, if they could sue all your lawyers, and I got this Charlene Kuntz. I found an email by accident. They sent it. What did it say? Charlene Kuntz said, "Oh, go ahead and give the files to Barton's lawyer. It doesn't matter anyway. They probably didn't do anything wrong." 4 weeks later, she sued them all. So internally, she's saying, "Oh, they didn't do anything wrong." It is almost impossible to get a lawyer to sue a lawyer. She sued all 6 of them. And then what did she do? She stayed all the cases. You know why they stay all the cases? You can't argue. You can't fight. They just stay.
But you haven't. So this is my advice to you. Number one, you got to reach out to they call it the Innocence Project. There's a couple of different organizations that basically give you free legal representation. You got to reach out to them. You got to make sure you're well documented. In today's age, you have AI to the umpteenth degree. You just upload all the files because you probably got a ton of them, right? Into a documentum. You make sure the documentum then goes through and does a brief. Like this is an AI brief, I assume that you have done, right?
Yeah.
You become very specific of things that you know are entitlements inside of it that you want them to read. You then push that into what's called a bluff, bottom line up front, make sure it's very concisely clear. That would be almost like what you wrote here, which are the things you said before. Now, I wouldn't put it in talking points. I would put it in a bluff. I can send you a couple bluffs if you know what they look like related to that. Then you got to make sure you call up your congressman. You got to reach out to President Trump. You got to get on more radio shows and talk shows. You got to, and I'm not talking about Fox News. Screw Fox News. The CNN, they're not going to help you. None of those people are going to help you.
I mean, Laura Loomer heard about this and she did a bit expose. Roger Stone did. Ed Henry put me on. But you are shunned. You know, if you have a DOJ indictment and an SEC and they say you're guilty, I'm sorry. I'm not throwing any stones at any politicians, okay? They won't let you in the office. They don't want to talk to you. I've had people that I did business with for 20 years see you on the street and run to the other side of the street. You are contaminated.
Bro, I have 7,000 articles about me and the fact that I first was on a call with Coomer, right? And then I went out and figured out whether or not they could steal the elections. And I predicted the outcome of the Georgia runoff election on Jan 5, 2021. And they have literally they have tried to eviscerate me. And I just keep telling them that they can F all the way off, like not partially. And they've come to my house with guns. They've done all sorts of crazy stuff, right? And I just tell people, make peace with God before you come, because you won't be leaving in anything other than a bag. So I mean, this is the reality behind fighting. You have to decide whether you're going to fight all the way or part of the way. Right now, you're partially committed. You're fully committed on when it comes to the money that you put out, but you're partially committed in the fact that you're still allowing them to put this shroud of shame over you. There's nothing to be shameful of. You got to go out there and you got to punch them in the throat and say, "I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong."
No, we look, the first 2 years, my head was just spinning like, how does this happen? And then you got these lawyers. They're all big, powerful lawyers. They're all part of the system. They're all part of it. They say, shut up, don't say a word, don't talk, don't do anything. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Let me handle it. They don't do anything except wait for you to plead, because if 95% people plead and you're the lawyer for somebody, then what do you expect your client's going to do? Plead.
Well, you still got the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, they have to pay for those lawyers in order to go through to the final thing where they tell you to plea, right?
Well, the only good thing is they took all my money, so I couldn't pay any of them.
So this is where, but it has adversely affected your family. It has, and when I talk about the contrite spirit and the fact that you have to get out there and punch people in the throat, like this story is unbelievable. You could write a book about it, and it's.
I mean, Roger Stone said this is the worst he saw. Jeff Clark, as I mean, they were all arrested, but nobody had their entire life. 30 years of my life, they took 106 companies. 100 of the companies were dormant. They weren't even active. They took them anyway, just to make a big show. And they are immune. The Judge Starr said that Court Thomas is not only immune, he's got a blessing order. Everything that the Fifth Circuit said it was wrong, he said he ratified it all. They are above the law, and you can't sue them. If you sue them, they'll threaten to throw you back in jail. It's quite astonishing. But I mean, you know, and another thing that, again, I just want everybody to understand. You looking at me on the screen, great, but it can happen to you. One guy just decides that they're going to come after you, and they put the team together, and they've gone so far as have changed the words are no longer. If you would think if I took somebody's money, they would find the money. They never even traced it. They never did a forensic account, and then they got the words received or benefited. That means that if they want anything that was benefited by your involvement on this planet, they have a right to seize it. So but no jury, no trial. And they've already sold $100 million. What they do with the $3 million, they paid themselves with it. That's all receiverships do. They're they eat what they kill.
Self-licking ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to get you a meeting with people like Kyle Seraphin. We need to get you a bunch of people. We need to get you on a bunch of shows. I'll send this story will actually end up getting in front of them, and they'll have to put you on those shows as well. All right, I want to play this. This is the video that you had with Nick Shirley. Nick thought, this is crazy. Even afterwards, he's like, this is crazy. This is nuts. Can't even believe that this is even a real thing. There's so much momentum behind you right now. Now, I do want to tell you before I play this, I got in a fight with the state of Colorado back in 2007. Right? Mm-hmm. Huge fight. And I remember sitting down, and so I sued him $30 million. I was like, I'm suing you for a bunch of things that you did wrong. And they came to me, and they basically put a car down at the end of the road, and they talked to my business partners, and they did everything they could to disrupt my life. Everything. They're like, how does this young punk kid, this 30-year-old kid, have a $2 million house? How in the world? And by the way, I don't get close to the do something wrong deal. I've never even, if it even looks or smells like
right. It's not worth it,
out, right? And that served me well, because I believe that I want to make sure that I'm responsible. If I have other people that are working for me and I'm responsible for their lives, I have a responsibility to be ethical at every turn, period, end, right? Now, I got in a fight with them. It lasted 6 years. They went to they ruined things. Literally wrecked my life. And they told me, they're like, we got billions of dollars that we can spend, and we're going to destroy you. I was like, okay, pony up, baby. so, so, so I went out, made a bunch of money, and did a bunch of crazy stuff, and went to the Middle East and made a bunch of dough, and hired an attorney who said, by the way, that he's only represented 2 people that he's 100% believed were, righteous people, and I was one of the 2. And so he fought for me, and at the end, they ended up having to write me a huge check, right? But I fought. I mean, I fought all the way through it, and I was as vocal as you can. I mean, I caused people to never be able to work in government ever again. I had friends of mine wear wires. I recorded people. It was crazy. Like my wife is like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm gonna catch these mothers. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them." And they were pompous. They thought that they'd get away with it. So sometimes you have to use extraordinary means. You have to make sure you're well documented. It's obvious that you're well documented here, but you got to be willing to go to the mat. But you got to be loud and proud. And you got to do it you got to wake up in the morning, Tim. Every single day, you have to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get these MFers. I'm going to get them, right? I'm going to make them all pay. And you name them. You name them to shame them. And you make sure everyone knows this is who they are. This is the picture of them, right? And this is what they did. That's my thing. So I want to play this, and then I'll get your thoughts on what you said to Nick Shirley. Go ahead and play it.
Lo and behold, as soon as Biden got in, all of a sudden I became the one that was dragged out of my bed at 5 o'clock in the morning by the FBI. 4 years ago, arrested me, and then they put a prejudgment receiver on me and have taken over $400 million of my assets without any jury trial.
You had $400 million of assets?
Yes.
Wow.
I was one of the biggest real estate developers in Dallas, Texas. I was a big supporter of Trump for many years. We opened the first office in 2016, the first campaign as well as the second. And we had a problem in the real estate business on simple real estate loans. We uncovered that the Chinese were moving money into America, and we put it out in a whistleblower action through the guideposts to the Department of Homeland and also to the FBI. And in 2019, because they were all Chinese, they said that this was not a priority because of all the Russian collusion. The government didn't have time to investigate it. And then, lo and behold, as soon as Biden got in, all of a sudden I became the one that was dragged out of my bed at 5 o'clock in the morning by the FBI. 8 FBI agents dragged me out in handcuffs and leg irons. And after the FBI got me in the holding tank, the agent asked me, Special Agent Ben Whitley asked me, did you like the showtime we gave you? I said, excuse me, sir? He said, yeah, we gave you the showtime, 5 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, bullhorns, bull lights, everything. And we have been already through 2 years of an investigation with the SEC and fully cooperated with them. So we've been fighting every day since then for the injustice that's going on in lawfare and weaponization. In America, you should not be able to take somebody's assets without a jury trial. The Supreme Court had a Jarsky rule saying that the SEC could not take one's assets without a jury trial, and now they got to work around with a prejudgment receiver. And Judge Brantley Starr, the nephew of Ken Starr, is now my judge in the SEC case, and he assigned a friend of his, Court Thomas, as the receiver. And they're supposed to be impartial. They're not supposed to be friends. They're not supposed to be going on trips together. Yeah. And 2 weeks ago, we found Judge Brantley Starr took the receiver on a junket with him for a judicial retreat and had him sitting next to him.
So this guy, Tim, he has a bunch of different companies, over 50 different companies, and does a bunch of real estate deals. So when he's doing some of these deals with the Chinese, he finds that the Chinese have all this money that they're moving around in secret, and they're evading laws of foreign money coming into America. So he tries to report this to the SEC and to the DOJ. And what happens is when the Biden administration gets in, they actually target him because he's a longtime supporter of Donald Trump. He says the money that's being brought in by these Chinese investors is being laundered. He says that this is money laundering going on. But instead of taking these claims seriously, the Biden DOJ basically turns around and arrests him. So why would they do this? And the big reason for this is because Tim Barton is a donor of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and you touched on a little bit about what does it do to the family. I mean, you know, when you came from nothing and you overcame 2 real estate and you got 2 beautiful kids and you can't take care of them anymore. I had to sleep on the floor of my daughter. When they arrested me 2 days later, they came and threw me out of my house. So I had to sleep on my daughter's sofa. Of course, she was polite, finally let me use the bed sometimes, but eventually, I had no place to stay. I had no money, no place to stay. I was broke, penniless, and I couldn't even take care of my basic needs. And I have to ask my daughter. To this day, my daughter's paying for my electric bill. I'm living. I'm in my phone bill, and I'm living in D.C. when I stay with her, or I'm staying at my son's house. And when we, first got it, I was sleeping on the floor for 3 months. And you know what I did? I laughed. I had no mattress, couldn't afford a mattress. I had to buy a broken mug for $1 instead of the $5 mug at the tag sale, so I'd have a coffee cup. I don't care, because I knew they were watching. I knew they wanted to see if they could break me, and I don't care. There's nothing they're going to do to break me. But they have done so much damage to my children. They don't deserve it. The Saskia doesn't deserve it. All these people have nothing to do with this, and they destroyed their lives.
All right, so let's take it back a little bit. Your son has tried to support you. Your daughter's supporting you. Are you married now?
Well, the 2008 crisis happened, and my wife, with financial stress and everything, there was a divorce back in 2008. But thankfully, she was supportive, even though everything that happened, they went after her as well. They thought we were still married.
Walk me through the process of where you are now. You said you're living in DC.
Well, I go back and forth to DC, right, to try to, like you said, do what you said, right. I'm in the market over there because that's where you have to be, and talking to people, and so I try to be there a couple of weeks. Oh, by the way, I'm under probation, right? I have to report to a probation officer for the last 4 years. So the last thing that the Biden team was able to pull off is I was invited to the inauguration for the president with my family and everybody. We're all going to go. They denied my travel to Washington, D.C., so I couldn't go to the inauguration.
Okay. So you're under probation because you're out on bail?
Bail, yeah, whatever they call it, yeah. They monitor you every month.
Pre-trial release. So,
yeah.
So have you've gotten discovery, you've gone through this process, you currently have an attorney. Is it a public defender?
No, the DOJ case never started, so the lawyers never did anything. In 4 years, nothing's happened. The case is now set for November 2nd, and every time, we did ask for it because the SEC stripped all our money. So the lawyers, they said, well, let's fight it all the way to get the money released. But the SEC won't release a dime of my money to help my legal defense. So the DOJ has agreed that the case keeps getting extended because we're fighting. We fought all the way to the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, the receivership issue was not called up. So I don't have any lawyers in the SEC case, but I have, because I'm still fighting with the receiver. And the DOJ case, they're threatening to walk off at every moment because there's no money, and they're like, we don't want to get, if you don't have any money to pay us, you better figure out what you're going to do. You got to get a plea or public defender or whatever. But again, those 2 cases, and nothing's happened. They've just tortured me with it.
Okay, so let's kind of back up for a minute and talk. You do have attorneys then on both cases?
I have no attorneys in the SEC case, and so now I'm finally free to. But of course, I call myself judicially restricted because Judge Starr finally agreed to let me be pro se, but he restricts me that I have to get a leave of the court before I could file a pro se action. And then
that's
he
not
has
true.
to review it.
By the way, the judge has no authority to say that to you at all. And
well, you can say that, but it's been going on, and we're fighting it. We fight every time. Every time we lose. Every time we go to the appellate court, we lose. We just keep fighting and filing. He also restricted me from making a bar complaint against the receiver. I filed a bar complaint. He blocked me, and we lost in the Fifth Circuit. He has a right to bar a bar complaint. You can't make.
No, he doesn't. He does not have a right to bar.
I'm telling you.
File another one.
We are.
So the way
they
that
tried
you
to put me in jail. They said if you get contempt again, we will put you in jail.
Have you? So this is where you get to, like, I mean, look, they've threatened me with jail so many times.
I understand.
It's crazy. I mean, by the way, as a pro se party, they have an obligation to give you more grace, right?
No.
And so
they have less grace here.
But you have to name names. You have to get out there and you have to literally just eviscerate them publicly, right?
Well, we got social media going every single week. We're putting out something about what Judge Starr is doing, and Court Thomas.
It can't be just Judge Starr. It's got to be who's the attorney for the SEC?
Keith Bernstein. But again, the SEC's, they're doing nothing because the case is staged. You understand? They got it all textbook. They get the DOJ to stop the SEC, so neither department has to do anything, and they unleash the receiver. Who pays the receiver? I pay the receiver. Where's the receiver get money? By selling my assets. They sold $100 million of my assets. They took in $3 million. They said there was an emergency. What was the emergency? Pay themselves. So they
didn't give you back your money. They didn't put it in escrow.
I don't think you understand.
I do understand, because I went through a bankruptcy. I'm
sure you got trust. I'm sure you probably have some trust.
Yes.
You think the trusts are great. I had a great strategy because of litigation and real estate. Nobody could get through it all. You know what the government does? They just take the trust. They took the trust. Trust doesn't have a bank account. Trust could have never taken any money. They don't care. The receiver says, received or benefited, we get to take the trust. They took everything. So, you know, I mean, for instance, in my office building, when they wanted to liquidate everything, this is how sick they are. They had an auction for my furniture inside my office building. They were posting my microwave popcorn and toilet paper they were selling in the auction. I think maybe I don't. That's how sick they are. They threw me out of my house, and then they wouldn't give me my contents of my house. You understand? My bed, my coffee cups, my sheets, nothing. They gave it to a guy. They said they rented it to him, and nothing in my house is mine.
They rented your house?
Yes, there's a guy living in my house right now, paying rent for a nominal rate, a third of what the market is.
Hold on a second. I mean, Tim, this is not funny. This is just, it's unbelievable.
Houses, okay? I don't have 5 houses. I don't have any Rolexes. I don't have any Ferraris. I got nothing except my hard work. Okay.
Hold on. Somebody. So the receiver is renting your house.
They threw me out of the house and said I couldn't have anything in the house. My beds, my coffee. I said, could I please just have my espresso machine? Nothing. Even the food, even the medicine, and then nothing was coming out of that house.
I'm so angry right now. I mean, I don't even know how I would react to this.
They told my son
it would not be good.
My son said, "Can I just get my baby books and a few things that my dad had of mine in the room?" No, you can't have it. You know what he said? We took pictures of everything in this house, and the guy's going to buy the house as is. Everything's sold.
Yeah, but you can't get personal property as well.
Eventually, yeah. No, what they said is because the entity I did not have a homestead because litigation strategies. I had it in an LLC. So the house was in an LLC, but it's my only house. It's where I live. It's where all my furniture is. But they said, too bad, we're taking the company that owns the house, and therefore everything in the house is company's assets. That's it. You can take your toothbrush and your clothes and get on out of here. And I've been fighting that sale up until the other day. I exhausted all my appeals all the way to the Supreme Court everywhere. And now this is a sale order from 3 years ago, and they're telling me that this guy's going to finally buy the house and it'll be liquidated. And they're liquidating assets as we speak again.
I don't know how to.
I just read. I'm fighting every day. I know I'm not as boisterous as you are suggesting, and we are doing a lot of things. But today I was reviewing some filings about the second receivership order. The second receivership order gives them power to take your assets and preserve them. But what they did in the next sentence is the SEC ordered this Court Thomas to liquidate my assets within 90 days, wind up all the companies, and liquidate everything. So I haven't been in court, haven't been found guilty. Why are you winding up? Why are you selling? Why are you liquidating all my assets and my son's assets? Why are you selling the assets that my son is a personal guarantor on? He did his own projects, and they took them anyway. You can't make this up. I mean, I don't think people in America, nobody understands. I'll tell you why they don't understand it. Because they gag order you, they threaten you, they scare the living daylights out of you, and nobody talks about it. Nobody understands what these civil receivership is doing. A prejudgment receivership, there's a Jarsky rule that the Supreme Court said that kangaroo court of the SEC cannot sell your assets without a jury. God bless the Supreme Court. They did it. You know what they don't do? They don't apply it to an Article 3 district judge. So the district judge doesn't have to. What they do is I call it the Jarsky workaround. They have a receiver, and he gets to sell your assets without a jury.
We got to figure out to get you some, just to give you some of the comments. There's a lot of support in many of the comments on many of the pages talking about how you've been treated. I don't really know. I often say that we're in the middle of communism already. Like we're already here. We're already
this is demonic and communism, yeah. They got a playbook and they run it, and nobody believes it. But they got a playbook. They indict you and they don't have a case because they know everybody.
I know what that looks like. Yeah, I know what that looks like.
And the SEC is the same way. And I'm happy. I'm happy about Paul Atkins. God bless you. I'm glad you did whatever you did in the crypto business. But let me explain something. If the real estate loans that I was involved in are securities, then Jamie Dimon's got a problem. And Jamie Dimon already argued that loans are not securities. So Paul,
loans are not securities.
If you're hearing me, please, loans that have 2-year term with a fixed interest with no profits, even though Judge Willett said I offered profits. There's nothing in the record that said I offered profits. It's a fixed loan at a fixed period of time is not a security. If there's no security, Joe, the SEC has no authority. They have no jurisdiction. They have to throw everything out.
Well, the Chevron doctrine also said that these are unelected bureaucrats, right? And that they don't have the ability to do any of the things they're doing. So it's just a matter of fighting it to the bitter end. And this is the definition of tyranny. I mean, what you're describing is tyranny.
My lawyer's working files. The lawyer that worked for me on the SEC was in my office. They seized the office. They won't give. I asked Court Thomas this week. I could send you the file. I said I need all my files because I got to start getting ready for my trial in November. You know what he said? Oh, you could go to the storage bin, and you'll have to be there with one of my guys, and you could search through it in the 100-degree temperature in a storage bin. And if you find something you might need, then you could go ask for an order to get it approved so that we could copy it and give it to you.
Just say I need all of it.
I did say that, but Court Thomas doesn't care. So now I got to go through all that fighting, and Judge Stark will deny me.
So you don't say that. Look, I think that this deserves to actually have somebody follow your case, and somebody that I do believe you have to go to a Innocence Project. The Heritage Foundation might help you. I'm gonna make some calls.
I knocked on a lot of doors. And, maybe I didn't knock long enough, but, about 2 years ago, and then I started a defense fund, somebody put a defense fund together for me. And I was like, hopeful that people would donate. I called some of my friends. I'm like, oh, it's tax deductible. You know what I mean? If you help this defense fund, they can help me. And they all just laughed and said, oh yeah, you're a fighter. You're a fighter. You know why? Because nobody believes I'm broke. Nobody believes that I had to sleep on the floor. Nobody believes that I can't take care of my own children when they need something right now. You understand what a man, 63-year-old man, I'm not crying. Other people have a lot worse than me. Okay, I'm free. Thank you for Jesus. Okay, but it's sick that because some Chinese national said so, they've never been here. That Michael Fu swore under the oath to the FBI. He said,
I'm still trying to figure out after reading this what you did wrong.
Where are the Chinese? Where are the lenders? They never showed up in court.
But what I'm saying is I'm trying to, I follow the procedures from 2022, 2023, the documentation related to the fact that it was considered not a
security.
Not a security. Like that happened. And so as a result, the SEC should have been barred from any further prosecution. That should have
No. Judge Starr ruled, he never ruled they were securities. Judge Willett, his buddy, Judge Starr, was the clerk for Judge Willett in the Fifth Circuit. In the Fifth Circuit, you're supposed to have 3 judges, right? We show up all ready for our oral arguments in the Fifth Circuit in Louisiana. Judge Ho stands up and walks off the bench. We're like, what's going on? Judge Willett says, oh, Judge Ho is conflicted out. There's only going to be 2 judges for you today. What? I'm supposed to have 3.
You should have stopped right there and said, nope, I want 3. So we need to go ahead and get a judicial review and get a third judge.
Oh yeah, you learn now that you turn to your lawyer and you ask your lawyer, what the hell's going on? What do we do? And he goes, well, it's okay, we could do it.
No, you don't. You never. Any lawyer that tells you on an exception to do something, you look at them, you're like, you see this finger? I'm giving it to you right now. No, stop it. Get me a third judge in here. I'm not doing this.
So Judge Willett, who put Judge Starr on the bench, tried to cover everything that Judge Starr did. And he said, well, he said in his mandate, it says, and I'll send you a copy, it says Judge Starr did not rule these are securities. Therefore, I will do it from the bench of the Fifth Circuit, just me and Judge Higginbotham, the 2 of us. I will decide that these
You can't decide. You can't decide.
You know what else he said?
It's already been decided. You can't.
Look,
the loans are not the securities.
He went so far as to make up the record. He said that Barton offered profits, and if he offered profits, therefore they're securities, therefore I rule them securities. Then he went even farther. He said Judge Starr has said that Barton has broken the SEC laws beyond the preponderance of the evidence, which, by the way, case is stayed. He's not supposed to be ruling that I broke any laws because that's what the case for. And then he said, I agree with Judge Starr. So I call it lying, okay? Judge Willett just made it up. And then he said that I went on a spending spree after the indictment. There's nothing in the record. I didn't spend any money because I could just tell you last week, I had a nice blue suit that I've had for the last 5 years. Well, the elbow busted out last week because it got worn out, okay? I got shoes, okay? Ferragamos, they're cracked. Everybody says, oh, you got Ferragamos. Okay, I don't waste. It's just crazy.
It doesn't even matter if you did. Like that makes no difference. You had $400 million. Yeah, that's right. I mean, somebody tells you can't go out and have a spending spree.
By the way,
I'm going to have a spending spree. I didn't do anything wrong. Huh?
Yeah, this is about $26 million. But Judge Willett made this stuff up and just to cover for Judge Starr, and he said that I paid my ex-wife. Judge Willett said, because I paid my ex-wife $750,000 after the complaint, that was justification for the receivership. Well, I luckily got that case fought, and the receiver couldn't argue, and she had to dismiss it. So the case that the receiver put forward, which was a fraudulent case against my ex-wife, the judicial Fifth Circuit judge used it as a reason to put Court Thomas in charge. And by the way, you can't even make this up. You ready for this? When the Fifth Circuit originally fired the receiver for being illegal, the lawyer Ezekiel that works for the SEC, the panel said to him in the Fifth Circuit, they said, what gives you the right to take this man's everything? You took his house, you took everything he has. What gives you the right? You're the SEC, you must have a case, you must have laws, you got cases going on everywhere. He came up with some arcanic law of 1894, the Judge Graves waved them off. He said, tell me what gives you the authority to take this man's house with no evidence. He said the judge didn't require it. Boom.
The judge did not require it. So you have that, right?
I vacated, I won.
Listen to me. Listen. These are the things that you have to actually
file it again.
It doesn't matter if they file it again. You continue to fight it. You continue to say this is unlawful, unlawful.
That's why I'm fighting pro se, because lawyers they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that.
You just rock that son of a bitch all the way over, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Americans are feeling it. I mean, Tim, you heard what was talked about before you came on, right? You heard what was talked about.
Already disgusting.
I mean, you have parents that are being stripped of their rights and saying you can't take care of your children. They can do whatever they want after 12 years old. You have a woman that has flock cameras that gets thrown to the wolves, and she has to prove her own innocence. You have $400 million. You have, I mean, at every level there's the haves and the have-nots, and you're sitting here having this conversation with me, and and you should see the comments. You should if you saw the comments, people are disgusted by this.
But they can't believe it. If I murdered somebody,
they believe it now. They believe it.
If I had murdered somebody, I'd be 3 to 5. I'd be out by now. You got drug dealers, all these foreigners coming into this country. Michael Fu swore to the FBI, my lawyer blackmailed me. The FBI said, why did you say he blackmailed you? He said, because when I wanted to sue Barton the first time, because you told me to sue him, you wanted $700,000 to sue Barton for $1.5 million, whatever the number was, small amount of money. They charged us $700. He said, why you charged me $700? You know what the lawyer, the little Chinese James O said, who was brought by the CCP to support Michael Fu in America? He was a Texas lawyer. He said, because the $700,000 covers the DOJ and the SEC. And he said it to Michael Fu in 2019. Well, guys, there was no SEC case. There was no DOJ case. And what this proves is that lawyer was taking $700,000 and Michael Fu was running around the countryside saying, I'm going to put Barton in jail. I spent $1 million. He's going to jail. Because that's what they do. They get to these. By the way, the SEC, Jason Braun, a.k.a. the Brontosaurus, because he's so ruthless in his interrogation, all these people are gone. They all got high-paying jobs. They're all gone. They do this so they can get hired to a new job. They don't even have to win. All they got to do is file. I'm researching now. I'll try to get it to you. Unfortunately, it was Reagan. He, in 83 or some year, I'm checking, but he made it that the judicial system gets funded. One of the statistics is how many cases you got in the system. More cases, more money. And whatever you take in civil asset forfeiture or anything else, that's what all goes to your budget. The SEC has $2.5 billion. Mr. Atkins, Commissioner, Chairman Atkins, you got $2.5 billion that you took for disgorgement or whatever it is. It's sitting in the bank and you have no victims.
The courts play fast and loose because they answer to no one. That's who was Chris.
And this Judge Starr was a clerk. What does he know about being a judge? And you make him a lifetime judge? How do you? You're going to make a lifetime appointment and full immunity. I can't say 2 words against this judge. I can't sue him. I can't do anything. He can do whatever he wants.
I can call him whatever he is, a piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned. He deserves he deserves to go to he deserves to literally go to prison for the rest of his life. Because you're not the only person he's done this to. They get to operate with impunity. They do whatever they want. We need to read.
He quoted Ezekiel, the sins of the father shall be born on the son. What they did to my son is criminal. He didn't do anything. They took everything. They harassed him. They were unbelievable. Anyway, the fact is they got the playbook and they just keep repeating it. Now you got Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi. They're trying to say, okay, we're going to change the system. The problem is you got all these bureaucrats and they want the machinery there. You know why they want the machinery? Because as soon as our president is out of the office, they're going to start up again. And that's what they want. They want the machinery so they can come after everybody all over again. Anybody that doesn't go their way, they use the system because it is very effective. So how does some Chinese CCP guys come to America, throw around a little money, and all of a sudden the SEC, the bankruptcy case that they filed against me, the judge said, okay, if Mr. Barton owes some money, show up in my courtroom. Did anybody show up? Nobody. Nobody showed up that said I owed them any money or stole their money or anything. They had a civil case they dismissed. They had the involuntary bankruptcy case. If the involuntary bankruptcy case, they filed it, they put all these project companies in bankruptcy, and they put it in the newspaper and tried to do all this damage. And the judge simply said, come to my court and show proof of claim. Nobody came. So then why does the SEC, why didn't they investigate that? Why didn't the SEC look at the whistleblower case that I did? Why didn't they look at the first case? Why didn't they look at the involuntary case? Why didn't they look at all this and say, why is these Chinese nationals who don't pay taxes in America get to come over here and manipulate the system? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's all the political money they're throwing around. I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to just, I'm sitting here gathering some information on this deal. How do people follow you? How do people help you? How do people contribute?
So Barton Receivership, BartonReceivership.net.
Go ahead and pull it up if you would. Put it
BartonReceivership.net. Yeah, there. And it tells you, I put, like you said, you want to name names? I put it out here. Every filing, everything that Charlene Kuntz does. I did a bar complaint on her. Tim Wells, he left. He's a lawyer. Now he went back to be a clerk at the judge in the same district. This, Judge Brantley Starr. I got everything they did.
They took everything from him. So Tim Barton lost everything. They literally then started promoting people from within for doing the very things they did in order to steal his life. Look, there's a lot more of you out there, Tim. I'm gonna do my.
That's why I'm fighting. That's why I'm fighting for everybody else's voice, because
I'm going to send this up. I'm going to find out about that. Who was the FBI agent again? What was his name?
Ben
the one that said, "Do you
Whitley.
like our show?"
Special Agent Ben Whitley and Adam Bohas. I hear one of them's gone. I don't know if they're both gone or whatever, but yeah, Ben Whitley and Adam Bohas.
All right, I'm going to find out. I got some people that I'm going to ask questions about those two people, those two individuals. But I think it's time that we actually fight back, and we fight back against this act of, we get to basically have a qualified or immunity. There's nothing different than what is happening if you had a king or a queen. You have the haves and the have-nots, and you've been pushed into a place where basically they're funding their tyranny by using the things that you've built over the last 30 years, and they're doing it on your back. So.
And for who? Who? Where are these people? They're not in America. They didn't come here. And all we tried to do was say the money's got to go back to China. And Michael Fu wanted to put it in his pocket here. And now he's living in his house. He's still doing what he was doing. His life hasn't changed. Why is that Chinese still here?
Well, it's a much to the Tim. Thanks for joining us. I do appreciate
Thank
you.
Thank you. God bless you for all we do. Keep fighting, guys. Don't quit. Don't quit. Keep fighting. We're here for
you need to become more vocal, and we're going to make sure that actually happens. So
I'm ready.
God bless you, Tim. Thank you.
I'm ready. Thank you. God bless you.
There's been many times that I've had lots of people on that have been adversely affected by a system. And if you actually add up the number of people that I've had on the show and the adverse effect, you talk about Erin Lee, what happened to her. You talk about Tim Barton. You can talk about my friend, Eric Holt, who, by the way, just had a hearing, or just the appeals hearing. He did very well. If you listen to what the appeals judges were saying, it should have gone in his favor, but it didn't. It didn't go in his favor. They just ruled against him. They ruled against him because they wanted to punish him for what he did pro se. He got tired of the lawyers. The system was never designed for the people to make it so complicated that procedurally, that's how they beat you. Now I want to take you back to the election for AG. You have a guy named Michael Allen. Michael Allen was the DA in El Paso County. Now he couldn't hem up a conviction for a murder that happened. That he had a confession. They had it done. Went to appeals. They overturned it and made him have a new trial. This is the same Kabuki Theater DA that frankly walked away from election fraud that was put in front of him. It was gift wrapped by Eric Holt. It was gift wrapped. And he said nothing, there's no there's nothing to see here. More criminal acts by people that are in positions of power and authority that just want to move up. So they promote people that allow for crimes to be committed against the community, against the people. And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's left or right or Republican or Democrat or independent, bro, you're all slaves. The haves and the have-nots it's universal. You have some haves that are Republicans. You have some haves that are Democrats. You have the haves that are diabolical demons from other countries. It doesn't matter. The haves and the have-nots have nothing to do with a political party. They wear black robes. They wear badges. They are big pharma, so they can put poison in your body and then tell that you lose your job if you don't inject that stuff in your body. They get immunity. If you think about the line for immunity and the lines of who is and who is not subject, the have-nots are the only ones that are treated like institutional slaves. That's it. Everyone else is above the law. And the pressure of the above the law, we have illegals, which by definition are above the law. And then you have the politicians, and you have the big pharma, and you have the TikTocracy, and you have the president, and you have the judges, and you have the attorneys, and you have the police officers. Is there anyone left? Is there anyone left? I would venture to say that there is none. There's no one left. There's no one left. Guys, there's no one left. Tell me what's left. Please tell me. I want to hear it. Tell me what's left. Just you. Just you. And it doesn't matter, by the way, if you have $400 million or if you have $4,000 in your pocket. They get to pick winners and losers. They get to institutionally cover up their crimes. And it's a fraternity. And if you're not in it, you're not in it. And we sit on the sidelines and we're like, so glad it's not me this time, until it is you. And Tim, in large part, felt the same way. It wasn't until it was. I want to put this up here. So I want to talk about what's happening specifically related to, there's been some consternation about a post that I put up. We'll talk a little bit about that. We constantly are put in this place where we have to pick winners and losers ourselves. And we have stolen elections in all 50 states. And Tina Peters was on my show the other day, and we had probably one of the best interviews that she's ever had. It's probably the best interview we've ever had, by far. And the interview was pretty simple. I wanted to ask her if she had any regret. I wanted to ask her, how she felt about and she's gone on to do other interviews as well. And she's been in Washington, met with President Trump. But there is something in the air. You can feel it. And if I were a betting man, I would say that we're on the precipice of something really significant. And there was a post that Tina Peters just put up a couple minutes ago. And let me see if I can share it with you real quick. Okay. Tina put up a post. We'll get the video ready. But I brought President Trump the proof. Now it's time to finish the fight. Real Tina Peters says that she is currently with the United States Department of Justice. We have proven that the elections are fraudulent. Machines and the mail-in ballots must go. And it says Tina Peters risked everything to expose what she believed the American people needed to see. Now she has the attention of leaders who can help bring meaningful change. Join the fight by donating today and help keep this mission moving forward. And that's at tinapeters.us. And you can watch Selection Code. You can watch the full episode of the episode that I did with Tina specifically. Tina sacrificed nearly 2 years for America. Let's help turn that sacrifice into change. So she posted this video. Let's go ahead and play the video real quick. Okay. Let's put up the post, the CBS News post, Colorado Post. Can we put that up? Let's talk about the governor's race really quick in Colorado. Victor Marks. They say that the Republican primary for governor may not be decided until Thursday at the earliest. And currently it shows that Victor Marks is leading by 39.8% to 39.4%. And then Scott Bottoms has 20.7%. Now, I believe that votes were switched. I believe that this is not an accurate count of across the board what happened in every county. And if you look at the anomalous nature of the votes and where they came from different counties, you'll notice that a vast majority of the votes that came through in the final hour came from states that are centrally, or from precincts from counties that are centrally counted, right? They're centrally, it's a counting facility for multiple urban districts. And there's no accountability to that. You have no ability to see where those votes are coming from. So if you're in Colorado and you're listening to what I'm putting out there right now, I'm telling you that the likelihood of having a 50-50 with a 20% or 40-40 election that is almost nearly mirrors what would be in a PID, you would have to do it this way. You would have to do it this way. And we're in over 90% of the late night votes. The votes came in the next day, came in for one candidate. His name is Victor Marks. And so they would count all the ballots out here, and then they would trickle in votes from the other precincts. You can see it if you start looking at the Edison data. The data of it goes from, gets pushed from Dominion Liberty vote to the final tally at the Secretary of State. This is a fraudulent election. This is a fraudulent election. This is not an election of, for, and by the people. It wasn't an election of, for, and by the people for the Democrats either. Nobody had an appetite for Phil Weiser. Nobody had an appetite for Jenna Griswold. No one had an appetite for anyone that was involved in government for the last 8 years. The people of Denver feel like they're being held hostage. The number of homes on the market and people leaving the city and county of Denver to move to the outskirts is dramatic. The urban areas of our state are in complete disrepair. The fact is that these people have done everything that they possibly can, everything that they can, to take from the people of Colorado. Property taxes up by triple. Nobody has an appetite for Phil Weiser. They would much rather see Bennett on the Democrat side. But they created some fake information related to what the surveys were saying. And then they make sure they just matched it perfectly. And then Bennett just said, all right, I'm going to go along to get along. The powers above us have decided that Phil Weiser is to be running for governor. And here is a guy so diabolical, so terrible as a human being, that he hardly could fog a mirror with ethical conduct inside of the Attorney General's office today. That's the reality of what we face. A really, really, really bad person whose only shtick is, I will fight against Donald Trump. So then I put a post out yesterday, and that post kind of talks about the fact that it's not just the Democrats. We don't have a Democrat problem. The system chose Marks. So we could have kabuki theater because you have terrible against someone like Barb Kirkmeyer, who is objectively has sided with the left more than she sided with the right, has an F rating, who has not spent much time actually campaigning. In contrast, Scott Bottoms went all over the state. The amount of enthusiasm for Scott Bottoms is significant. And yet we only had a 35% show of people that showed up to vote. And of that, 50-50 voted for Kirkmeyer and Marks, and only 20% voted for Scott. Almost perfectly aligned. I don't believe it. And nor should you. Because a black box system that hides the results and saying, nothing to see here, trust us, bro. It's the trust us, bro system. Should never be used. But our problem is not the left. So I put up this post about our good friend, Mitch McConnell. I said, Mitch McConnell has died. Another walking, controlled corpse has stayed in power until his last breath. I pray his family has peace and God judges him according to his deeds, both known and unknown to us all. Let's not operate with revisionist history. Mitch betrayed the American people like most in Congress, left to right. Both parties have abandoned their obligation and worked against the interests of our nation. It's politics, after all, the thing they use to excuse their betrayal. He's brain dead. Just so you're wondering, his wife went to China 3 days after he went to the hospital. They said he was recovering. There's no recovery in the guy. Sources say that the guy is brain dead. Okay, so if he's brain dead, why are they keeping him alive? Well, because if they keep him alive past August, they can not have a special election. And what would happen in that special election? You'd have someone like Thomas Massey that would run for Senate. That's what would happen. Look, we have got to stop thinking. And look, it's all control. We're talking about Feinstein. We're talking about other things that have been done inside of this. Why are people waiting to their dying breath, being rolled in wheelchairs? And the American people aren't saying anything about it? It's because we have such utter disgust for the political system. Because we are not represented. This is not a representative government. It's a bunch of clowns who couldn't, by the way, do anything of substance. These are not people that are talented. Jim Jordan was a talented athlete. There are some. Byron Donalds, talented. But a vast majority of them are weak shitbags that either love betraying us, left and right. John Thune walks in like he's some sort of, I don't know, Clark Kent, telling us how complicated it is. But he's not that bright. He certainly doesn't care about the American people. We don't have a left problem. We don't have a right problem. We have a betrayal problem. We have a government that is completely captured and has complete immunity. Like you heard about Tim, you heard about Aaron Lee, you heard about the woman in Elson, the woman in Elster, the woman in Littleton. They can do and say whatever they want. And the only thing that stops it is the ability for us to come together and fight against it. I want to play this video. This is the video of Tina talking about her sacrifice and what she did with President Trump. Let's go ahead and play it.
I think it's a lie from the pit of hell that we can't do something about this.
Well, we can. I feel
Will
like
people do it? No, because they'll get Tina Petered. No, they'll get thrown in prison.
There you go. There you go.
So here's the thing. And this is what I told President Trump. I said, you know, the last 2 months, I've felt very discouraged.
Yeah.
I was just being frank and honest. I said, because we have the proof. We don't need any more proof. We're getting more proof. Every day something comes out where we're proving that the elections are fraudulent every single day.
Yeah.
And people it's almost like they've become consumers instead of proactive.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of hearing, and I told President Trump, I said, Mr. President, I said, we have the proof. We have the proof 5 years ago. We have the proof. And I said, it makes me feel like what I did was for nothing. I could have just said, you know what? Let somebody else do it. I'm not going to get involved. Okay, no, I was wrong. There wasn't anything there. I didn't see anything like Jenna Griswold wanted me to say.
And then she would have absolved you from everything else.
And nothing would have happened to me. But I said to him, he said, get me the info. So there is hope, but you have to be involved.
There you go. You got to get involved, and we can do something about it. We can do something about it for Tim. We can do something about it for Aaron. We can do something about it for the people in our community. We are going to have to stop with this Republican and Democrat stuff because both sides have disappointed us. Both sides have lied, sat there and told us that they're the smartest guys in the room, that your voice doesn't matter. They've made the American people invisible. And they've been used by, use bots to tell people that bots to tell us what the mores of society should look like. No, I'm not saying that Thune is handsome. I'm thinking that what he thinks he is. He thinks that he is Clark Kent. He referred to himself as Clark Kent years ago. Dan Stricklider says, pay a nurse to pull the plug. Oh, geez. This is crazy. Whew. We are going to get to a place where we actually win as a state and a country. I have, by the way, been digging further into the CERN collider and the Mandela effect. I've been talking to people around me, and this rabbit hole is not something I was prepared to go down. I probably will do an entire show on this, whether or not the reason why we're allowing criminals to get on the street is that the judges in these cases are just retarded. They're just terrible human beings that are a part of this dimensional change. I feel like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. Listen, somebody brought it to me. I started to look into it. What am I going to say? I mean, but you can't sit here and tell us that what we're seeing, that nothing to see here. Biden is a real person. No, nothing to see here. Mitch McConnell is absolutely lucid. I mean, he can see everything in front of him. No. Said no one ever. They should have to step down. They should never get 30 years in office. Should never happen. But the American people don't matter. They don't matter. It says here that Massey has some potential bipartisan support. People might be surprised by unlikely allies if he was given the chance to run. Mort, I think you're absolutely right. With the anti-Trumpism, Massey stands a chance. I'm not anti-Trump. I think they need to break bread and get to the end of it, right? I think we have to. I think we have to get to a place where they set aside petty differences. Maybe he communicated with a Ouija board with old Mitch. Okay, Dancer, you're killing me. Brain dead for decades. I would agree with that. Most of what they do in Congress is designed to steal and take from us what was never theirs to take. Until the elite fear us, they have no reason to stop. Well, they feared us on J6 and we didn't do anything with it. And then we just crawled into our hole because they arrested 800 people. So 800 people became the chilling effect for the rest of America that don't stand up. Tina was a chilling effect. Anyone interested in the CERN and particle physics should read the Three-Body Problem trilogy. Okay, tell me about that. I gotta research that now. Three-body problem. It's a book series. Let me see here. It's science fiction. Are you telling me this is? Oh, it's a Chinese author. Figure that. Chinese guy. The secret military project sends signals into space were received by the Trisolar. Okay, I'm not reading that book, Mord. Come on now. Are you serious? Is it a good book? I might read it. I mean, it's written by a Chinese person, but maybe it'll be good. It'll be good for me. Oh, J6 was our moment. J6 was our moment. 1,575 people is actually 1,830 people, but if you look at the people that were actually put in prison, it was just over 800. It is science fiction, yeah, but we'll probably. Professor said the problem with J6 is that the people went home. I agree. The people never should have gone home. They had courage for a minute until they didn't. Yeah. It's not a book about conspiracies involving CERN. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. It's been great to spend this time with you for the last 2 hours. We have some guests coming in. We got Ash Epp that's going to be on this week as well, and I've got some other guests that I'm going to bring in that maybe don't represent your viewpoints. Now, before I do that and tell you something, you'd say, Joe, why do you have that person on? I'm going to have people on that have differences of opinion because somewhere along the line, we got to figure out what the reasoning, where they come from. And so I don't think we do ourselves any justice for being in the echo chamber. And I'll tell you this, some of the people that we actually highlight things that are going on in their lives, they're not Republicans. They're not conservatives. we're advocating for people that supposedly aren't on our side, but they are. They're Americans. And when we start differentiating by the fact of, the selective justice based on being a Democrat or Republican, this is why I have so many problems with people going after Jake Lang. I don't agree with Jake Lang. Let me be very clear. Beating a Bible with a ham sandwich or a bacon or having a pig roast is not even something I want to do. It doesn't even make me think that someday I'm going to wake up and let me beat a Quran with bacon and that's going to have any sort of value. It doesn't. I don't believe in it. At the same time, I talk about the injustices and the fact that we justify those injustices against people and we pick winners and losers. They're conditioning us to pick winners and losers. Jake Lang is not the problem. Jake Lang may not be the way that we should go about our solution. We don't have to agree with it, but he's not the problem. Let's be honest. The problem is that we have this Islamic takeover. You have people that are talking about it, taking over all of New York, and that they're going to turn it into a Islamic hellhole. That's the problem. The problem is Americans are set on the sidelines while we have traitors that have been given judgeships that aren't even Americans, that barely speak English. That we have people in Congress that frankly that don't have American values. The problem isn't Jake. The problem is that we want to attack Jake and we want to criticize him. I wouldn't do it his way. This idea, though, that you can shun people based upon how they fight, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with it. I don't have to agree with him. But the fact is, we still have a massive problem in our country. We have a takeover in our country. We have leaders. We're so concerned about Jake Lang, who I'm going to have on. You know what? I'm going to have him on this week. Only because people don't want me to have him on. Do not give Jake Lang a voice. Friends that call me say, Joe, don't do it. It's like having Nick Fuentes on. And I'm thinking to myself, don't talk to Candace Owens. Don't talk to Tucker Carlson. You're going to tell me what I can do and can't do? You're going to tell me that you're going to judge them while allowing other people to groom our children and rape them and put criminals on the street? You're not outraged by that, but you're outraged by Jake smacking a Quran with bacon? I'm not okay with it, by the way. I'm not okay with it. I think it's disrespectful. I don't think it addresses the problem. At the same time, we have a problem. But we will scarlet letter our own, and we will show a lack of tolerance while saying we're tolerant of the things that are destroying our communities and our country. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. And I don't care if you're Muslim or Jewish or Christian. We got one race, the human race. I don't care if you're black, white, green, yellow, purple. But we have an American race. We have an American race. We have an American ideal. And these pieces of shit are trying to take that ideal from us. They're trying to take opportunity from our children. They're trying to enslave the American people with these village idiots. And they're doing a good job of it because our people are betraying us. And the media is pushing a narrative that makes a scarlet letter on every American. And then we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it. We're doing it to Jake Lang. We're picking winners and losers. We're doing the same thing they tell us not to do. We're allowing them to create an environment where they can. And I had a conversation with a guy this morning about this, who told someone that worked for me. We're talking about a project. He goes, man, that guy Joe, though, oh man, he's it sounds like he's a racist, anti-Semitic. He's an election denier. He did all this stuff. We were going to do a business deal. And I turned around to my friend and I said, screw him. But then he wanted to come back for more. He wanted to have a conversation. Actually, he wanted me to invest money. And I was like, you don't need money. Revenue solves all problems. He's like, oh, you're right. I said, by the way, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the fact that I called for people to be hung. I called for treasonous traitors to go get tried in a court of law and when found guilty, hung by their neck till they're dead. And I actually don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I don't care if they're the Communist Party. I don't care what party they are. If you betray the American country as a people, as a whole, and you commit treason, you should hang. And when you create an unsafe environment and destroy an entire state, that's treason. That's what I think. All right. Yeah, you guys didn't like that. We have an Israeli takeover, not to mention a Muslim takeover and a communist takeover. They're all the same, guys. They're all the same. It's team evil. So you got team good, you got team evil, and we're trying to figure out which side of the team evil part we want to play on or the team good part we want to play on. It's only two sides. Either you're an American and you're ready to run on the beaches of Normandy, or you're a coward, you need to go stand with those guys. That's it. Pretty simple. And if you don't have the stomach for it, go stand with Team Evil. At least we get a higher body count. Truth. Yeah. The CK pretrial hearing is bad news for the Candace crew? Maybe. They're murdering our children? They are. And then telling us that they are. All right. Let's have all of them on. Have all of who on? Lynn Wood could be fun? Absolutely not. I will never have Lynn Wood on the show. Sorry. Lynn Wood is a kooky old man. He's a kook. Sorry. And I've sat and broke bread with him, and he is team ridiculous. Sometimes people come to us because they want to screw things up for our own side. Okay, here we go. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. We're also on Roku. It's awesome. For those of you watching us on Roku, thumbs up. Rumble is what Rumble is. I do want to appreciate what's happening on X. Different experience, better experience on X than it has been in the past. Look forward to follow us. We're on every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time to 6 o'clock Eastern time. And we got some other things that are going to be coming down the pike. We had Peter Boyles on here, who is a absolute legend in the radio world. We got about 6 or 7 other legends that are across the country that we're going to bring in. And we're going to put something together that I think is going to be really appealing to all of you. May the Heavenly Father protect all of our endeavors and guide us in this dimension and every other dimension. Jody. Just being funny about the CERN collider. Yeah, all that stuff. All right, so let's pray it out. Father God, we are humbled by the opportunity to be born at a time such as this and fighting against this evil. It's fascinating. It's fascinating that we find ourselves negotiating with the ridiculous and looking at each other like, what is happening here? Nobody really believes this, but they do, sadly. Father, we know that in the end, it's about restoration. At least we think it is. We don't know. If we're being honest, we're completely lost at times. And what is true north? What are we truly fighting for? We're fighting for our children. We're fighting for goodness. But then they keep redefining goodness on our side. People that say, I'm on your side. I believe everything that's happening and you're doing. Father, please help us kind of figure out the wheat from the chaff, put it in different perspectives, to find a way to be able to listen to each other so that we can fight against the thing that is most focal, most in focus for us, and that is this evil overtaking of our communities, our country, and the world. And they lie to us with such ease. They make it up as they go along, and people believe it. And Father, I know that the veil has been lifted over the last 6 years, and I don't know what's going to happen in the next 6. But I do ask, Father, that you will guide us in such a way that we may honor you and do what is right, and stand up and be fearless, and that we can do right by people like Tim Barton, that we can expose this institutional rot and this callous injustice that has just gripped our nation, state by state, community by community. Father, we don't pretend that we have any sort of ability to understand how this is all supposed to play out, but we ask you to give us peace. Protect our leadership, President Trump, and the other leaders in his cabinet, that they may do the right thing and be driven to do the right thing, regardless of the consequences, and regardless of how difficult the fight may become for all of us. Help us, Father, that we may turn to you at every turn, I may look to you for wisdom to fulfill anything that we need to fulfill in order to create restoration. So we ask these things, Father, humbly, in Jesus' name. Amen. Oh, Father God, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for Dave Bear. Thank you for doing what people would say is improbable, impossible, whatever it is. We are so grateful for healing. I can't wait to tell everyone about this, but Father, thank you. Thank you. I say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. I need to share with you an update. 3 weeks ago, I would never have been able to share this update with you. You have no idea what kind of update I'm about to share with you. Ready? I need you to understand that he was growing these nodes all over his body, that cancer was spread everywhere. It had infected his whole body. Good news. Maybe not permanent or cure, but at least a positive sign. Tumors have all shrunk. All metabolic activity is cut down by at least half. The largest lung node shows no activity at all. That one is dead. Do you believe in miracles? Because I do. Do you believe that no matter what, God is in control? Because I do. But God, President Trump became our president in 2024. And I know you could say, I believe that they needed to take his chess pieces off the table. But if you knew how bad it was for Dave, and to have this type of an update, man, it's like, it's amazing. I got that just before I came on the show. So thank you for all the prayers for Dave. Continue those prayers for Dave. Continue those prayers for Gammy. Continue those prayers for those people that are in the comments that are suffering right now. But just understand that Dave was given no chance. They said that he wouldn't last 60 days. And now they can't figure out how in the world this is happening. Now, I will tell you, he takes ivermectin, fenbendazole, all that stuff, right? And he's also taken some immunotherapies and stuff that didn't work before. Now he's taking those again. And he's taken THC. And one of the things that I said when I was talking to Dave, I think I could safely share this with you, is that David said, Joe, that's the problem, is you throw everything in the kitchen sink and you don't know what's working. I said, who cares? At the end of the day, it's the man upstairs. And he goes, you're right. And I was like, so God cured you. Because all those things became an opportunity because he said, you were such a faithful servant. Dave Bear, B-A-E-R, Bear, Dave Bear. What an amazing man. And I'm going to go see him now. So show's over. God bless you guys. Make sure you share us. You're the ambassadors of truth. I appreciate all your support. And we will see you, Dr. Dave Bear, super cool guy. We will see you tomorrow, same time.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave